welcome to Rima Synergy's podcast. Help, we're trying here. This is October, and October is also Mental Health Month. Therefore, today's episode is about mental health matters. Hi, my name is Selma. I am a confidence coach, and I will be your host for today's episode. And today we will be delving into the crucial relationship between mental health, well being, and overall performance, be it in your personal life or in your work. And I have two awesome guests with me, and they are Coach Hanaa and Coach Johan, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and you hear a bit about themselves from the people themselves. Three times themselves, huh, guys? Okay? Okay. So let's start with Coach Hanaa, please.
Thank you, Selma. Toastmaster background girl Marion would have. But it's been a while since we've recorded a podcast, and always we want to be informal and have everybody quite relaxed. So there's no script. We only know the overall topic. And so, what is it about myself that I want to share today? I'm a strengths coach. My name is Hanaa. Hello. And happy to be in a Rema Synergy team where Selma leads us in terms of being, how shall I say this? Let me speak for myself and not, including Johan in this point. See the color of my hair. So sometimes I feel so out of place in conversations where I feel the topics are very young. But the team, with Selma on board and kind of like holding our hands, say, no, let's talk about this, like from that angle. Then it makes me feel, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I think as a strengths coach and helping everyone learn more about their strengths, that's what I do. And doing that also helps me hone my strengths as well. So in the doing of it for others, with others, I'm also helping myself. So the whole world, if we can all learn about our own strengths and maximize that, I think our lives, our well-being would be at very good levels. Yeah. Back to you.
Thank you, Hanaa, and welcome. And let's listen to our second guest, Coach Johan. Yes, Coach.
Thank you very much, Silma. Hi, I'm Johan. I'm a performance and well-being coach. What I do is work on people's well-being, helping them improve their well-being, which will lead to better performance. And once we perform better, we have better output, get better reviews from others, and feel that we are achieving much more. Definitely, we will also feel much better, thus improving our well-being even more. So that's how I work on performance and well-being. Really looking into today's topic, because definitely mental health, well-being, and performance are closely related, and definitely October is also the mental health month, where a lot of focus goes into well-being, mental health, etc. So really looking forward to sharing and also listening to our fellow guests here about their opinions and thoughts as well.
Yes.
And hopefully you will also get something from our conversation today.
Right.
Sima.
Right. So we have two guests. Coach Hanaa is a strengths coach, and Coach Johan is a well-being and performance coach. Now, before we go any further, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do. We need your support. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Just look us up. It's Rima Synergy. And please leave a comment, as well as by the end of the session, if you think someone can benefit from this conversation, please do share this with them. Yeah, we want everybody to have a listen, give us your thoughts so that we know what you're thinking about. So going back to our topic for today, which is mental health matters. Now, as a strengths coach, Hanaa, why do you think mental health matters? What is the relationship of mental health and also knowing your strengths?
I would say it's a very strong connection, especially for me, because I've been through negative thinking, even depression, and when I was going through those dark times, I sometimes explain it this way to people who don't understand about depression, thinking that the people who are depressed have a switch and they can choose to switch it off. And I explain it this way. It's like the cartoon, I think it's Charlie Brown, where you see this person walking around with a dark cloud over their head, and no matter where they go, the dark cloud follows, and you just can't get rid of it. So there is no switch. There is only, for me, a way of managing it so that you don't have to be consumed by negative thoughts or dark thoughts. Now, where strengths are concerned, see, if I am focusing on what I do well and my strengths, therefore it occupies more space in my head than the dark thoughts, right? So helping others know their strengths, I feel, is also helping them be on a very much healthier level of well-being, mentally and emotionally, because we're looking at what we do well. And probably you've received compliments from others, sincere compliments like, oh, you're really good at that, and you're really good at this. So those are indications of what your strengths are. So, and if we're focused on that more than what we don't do well, beating ourselves up, often we are our own worst critics, right? Then if we're letting positivity occupy more space in our heads, then there's less space for the others. And in that sense, strengths play a big part in mental health.
Right. Definitely, when you see it that way. So in the beginning, guys, like I said, we're gonna delve into two parts, right? Which is personal and also your workspace. So what Coach Hanaa have shared with us just now was for personal, right? So let's go a bit into the work area here. Being a well-being and performance coach, Coach Johan, how do you see the relationship between mental health and business success?
Definitely there's a connection. How is it connected is because if you feel good and you have an organization where your employees and people within the organization are also feeling well, their well-being is taken care of, they feel psychologically safe in that organization, they can contribute and they can flourish, they can grow, definitely you will see success because everybody will be showing up well in the organization and wanting to do well for the organization. So imagine where instead of an organization where everybody is sharing what Coach Hanaa mentioned, everybody comes to work under a cloud. No matter where they go in the office, there's a cloud. And then they also feel that, oh, I'm doing something wrong, and then they start scolding other people. Definitely, it will be much, much more difficult to achieve success in that kind of organization. So when you say that success may be just a bit business numbers, or you have to follow a certain process, organizations are also run by humans, and what we need to bear in mind is that how the person that comes to the workspace, how they show up, how they feel is really, really important to the success of the organization as well. So for me, it is really, really closely related. Don't even have to think about it. We need to look at people's well-being so that our companies can also succeed.
Right. So we need to look into people's well-being so that the company can succeed.
Yes.
So how does the leader look into the well-being of the staff members?
Very good question. This is a question that even in some training or seminars I talked about, and people ask me the same question because they get sent by the leaders to learn about well-being, but then they say, I hope our leaders were here instead.
Yes.
The easiest one is the leaders have to walk the talk. This is about emotions, this is about well-being. So the simplest one is that leaders need to show emotions. They need to show that they are taking care of their own well-being, and they need to show that they are also being vulnerable. If the leaders are not vulnerable and don't talk about emotions, etc., how do you expect people that report to you to also be able to feel safe to talk about how they are feeling? So imagine this kind of situation. You have a CEO or your managing director, your boss, comes to work and says, today I need a well-being day. I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna maybe go for massage or do something. What message will that send to the organization? Most people say, oh, I think our boss gets it. So next time I feel that I need a well-being day, I can go to this boss and he'll understand, or she'll understand. But so this is what I mean by lead by example, walk the talk, that if they feel that well-being is important, they need to show that they are also doing it for their own well-being.
So
for them
when you
to
say they means leaders.
the leaders, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they need to walk the talk.
Correct. Show by example.
Show by example.
Yes. And be
So-
vulnerable.
Is that
Well,
easy to do?
Vulnerable, yeah, that's a really big ask.
Yes, it is.
I
Yeah.
guess before any leader can be vulnerable
Yes.
if they're not used to it. Maybe think about being authentic.
What does that mean, though, being authentic?
Being authentic is being true to what you're feeling, expressing that. So you don't have to think too much about what does that person think of me, where do we stand socially, is he in a hierarchy of things in the company or social circles, feeling like you're afraid to be judged, then you can't be authentic. So I guess what I'm saying is, for me, authenticity is not just blah everything you want to express, but being true to the emotions you're having in that moment, and whether you want to express that or not, you need to gauge the appropriateness of the situation, but not saying anything opposite.
Right.
So if you're feeling lousy and you say, "Oh, let's go team," and then that's not being authentic.
But then, if you are being in that way, how does that reflect in work, though? Because in work, you do need to have certain level of motivation, be out there. But then, if you're not feeling it, but you have to be
On
as
the
well.
day that you have a team building thing to go to, it might be the day you ask for a self-care day. That's being
So that's
authentic.
being vulnerable for me.
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a very interesting thing. So this is a difference between well-being and also playing your role. Definitely, it becomes challenging. Like Hanaa says, is it easy to be vulnerable? It's not. Definitely not. Especially if you are given a leadership position, or you've been promoted to a leadership position. Because what we've seen is that once you've been promoted or you've taken a role, there are some expectations of that role.
Definitely,
Okay,
yeah.
and sometimes these expectations are that you have to be the strong person, you have to be the one that other people can lean on, because that's your role.
Yeah.
You're leading the organization.
Yeah.
But you also have to make certain leadership decisions, and certain leadership decisions can also be like a parent. Okay, so this is crossing over from parent and personal to work, right? Sometimes you have to be the tough parent, and sometimes you have to be the loving parent. So for the CEO or whoever the leader is, they need to decide when it's right to show vulnerability, authenticity, or when they need to be hard. Okay, because at the end of the day, it is how they lead the organization. When they choose to use certain tools to be a tough parent or to
Okay.
be a loving parent,
Okay.
that dictates the success, right? Which is challenging, because nobody said leadership was easy.
And it's lonely.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is the thing. But going back to your question, originally for me was, what does it take for a leader to be what is expected of leaders in terms of well-being, and in the well-being, which is talking about psychological safety, making sure that your employees' welfare is taken care of, is also being able to show that you yourself as a leader really treasure the well-being of the persons that you are in charge of, responsible for, and that you are also understanding either your strengths, your emotions as well, and how to regulate it as well. So by showing that, then you also lead as a leader by saying, oh, okay, I want to emulate this leader, because this leader also is high in EQ, or emotional intelligence, or
Right.
emotional feeling, and also it's a good leader when they need logical and strong kind of leadership.
You're right.
Yeah.
Sounds like being a leader, you need to be really on your A game all the time,
Yes.
right? So we are humans. We do have our down moments.
Mm.
So I think this question will be for Coach Hanaa. Then how do you balance, or take out that part of you that is your strengths, during when you're emotionally down? How do you balance that?
Okay, so before we talk about balancing,
Mm.
something, a thought came to my mind, a reminder, as Johan was speaking just now, that, we do this sometimes for our own group, our own teams, and we also do this in training.
Mm.
And at the beginning of the day, at the training, I'll ask everybody, I'll draw a scale from 1 to 10, asking where everybody feels they are at
Yes,
with
yes.
their well-being, right?
Yes.
And some could be at a 5, so, average, everyone's at a 7, or like 8 is good, 9 is even better, right? 10 being ecstatic. So that means that everybody is at different levels every day.
Right.
We all have days when we're at 8, 9, 10, and we also have days when we are at 5, 4, or even 2 and 1s. So being aware of where we're at every day, and then being in situations, whether for work or whether at home or personal, what does that situation require us to do, or at what level does that situation require us to be? So if I'm currently at a 5 and I get into a situation where I need to be an 8 to solve a problem, to deal with a difficult client, or a parent or a child, then I need to draw on my reserves. Yeah? There's a bling bling. Do we need to worry about that? No. Okay. So I'm reminded of a talk by Brene Brown, whereby she and her husband, when they get home at the end of the day, and it's like, I'm at a 8 and I'm at a 6. I think they use different numbers, but I use 1 to 10, right? And so then they know for each other how to support each other. If there's a situation that requires more energy and somebody's had a really tough day, one of them's had a really tough day at work, then they can say, I'm sorry, I'm at a 4. Says, I'm at an 8, I got you, don't worry about it. So I think that's how we all need to know where we're at. So when you said we need to be self-aware, I 100% agree with that. If we all can give ourselves that awareness, that number, knowing where we're at and when we need to ask for support.
Right. I love that numbering scale, and I believe corporate companies will be able to benefit from that, right? So every day you go into your workspace, and then you put down where you're at. Then your management team will be able to say, okay, you're here. So what can we help you? How can we support you today?
Correct.
So then I jump in and say, okay, great. But here, the additional thing is, what is your organizational environment like?
Correct.
So if I were to put in a 4, and then people go like, you everyday 4 lah, then that becomes your review, and they say this person is not showing up properly and all that. And then by the end of the year, your annual review is not going to be great. Or is it an organization where they say, oh, you're a 4 today, I got you.
Right.
So do you have that kind of environment in place?
Good
is
question.
it safe for you to even be vulnerable and say, hey, today this is how I'm wearing? So self-awareness is important.
Right.
Then on top of that, in the organization, of course in families, of course we expect that trust to be there and the safety to be there. But is it there in your organization? The question is, even if it's not there, can it be created? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
As long as there are people trained in psychological safety, you have the policies in place, you have the rules and regulations, and you have that feeling that you have support of each other. Definitely, it can be fostered. Yeah.
And the word comes to my mind is company awareness. So
Yes.
instead of just self-awareness,
Correct.
company needs
Company
to be
needs to-
aware
yes.
of its team members.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
And you've done your certification in NIOSH, so you know more than the rest of us
Mm.
right now. We're getting certification later.
Yes.
So
In occupational psychological
Johan
first
does
aid,
make a lot of sense when he also briefs us about psychological safety at work, whereby now the Malaysian laws are moving more into the
Yes.
mental health area also.
The laws already put a responsibility to the employers that they need to be they need to take care of the employee well-being as well. Before the pandemic, I don't think this was taken wasn't thought of much, but
Right.
since the pandemic, where people talk about burnout and also not being able to increased stress, and now the last few days we've been hearing about suicide issues as well. I think this has become a big issue that the ministry as well, Kasuma, the Human Resource Ministry is also focused on the well-being aspects in workplace as well. So this is really an interesting area to be in at the moment, and where more organizations are starting to look at well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just say right now, on a scale of 1 to 5, in your opinion, Coach Johan, being a well-being and performance coach, do you think our companies are there?
Okay, I can't say because I haven't looked at all the companies,
Yeah.
but I would say that in Malaysia, let's say it would be about a 3 or 4.
A 3 or 4.
And I wouldn't say it's because the companies are bad. I would say it's because the awareness is not there.
Correct.
And I would also say that this focus on well-being is something new as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, there was a podcast I also watched where they said that the leaders' focus before was on productivity,
Yes.
and then after that it was on knowledge,
Yeah.
getting a knowledge, who had the knowledge in company. Going forward, they said leaders need to know about heart, because more and more people joining the workforce are what you call the different generation, and this generation is more about how I feel and what is the company doing about my welfare, my well-being. So if you really, really want to be successful and hire and retain the right talent, you need to focus on this more. So it's a new thing, and that's why I would put it as a lower rate, not because we have bosses that, you know, from hell. It's just that I think the way of doing business has changed overnight, and we haven't caught up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Talking about retention, if 80% of the success of the company comes from 20% of the
Workforce.
your
Yeah.
workforce, how do you retain this 20%, right? Because what they want from the company may be different,
Yes.
each of them.
Yes.
Yeah, and definitely one of it is mental well-being.
Yes.
Yeah, mental health.
Yeah.
And just now Hanaa mentioned about being authentic, right? And yeah, being authentic is definitely great if you have the self-awareness for it. But at the same time, it's not always easy to be authentic.
No.
Yeah. So if it's not easy to be authentic, and you can't really show your true situation in office areas, right? Then what kind of telltale signs can the leaders see or can tell from via their team members? Is it like a performance rate? Is it the way they speak? Because sometimes you cannot read minds all the time, right?
No,
Yeah.
but I think all of us have the ability to detect when somebody is fake.
Okay.
We have that,
Yeah.
especially children, right? Children know when, in their innocence, they know when they are telling a lie. So they also know when somebody is not authentic or sincere. So we start from there. All of us have that ability to detect when somebody's saying. I mean, those who are ultra fake, you know, but those who are very skilled at masking their fakeness, who appear as authentic, then those kind of people is probably more difficult to detect. However, for me, the formula, everybody says, oh, let's play win-win, right, in business.
Right.
Then the question that needs to be asked is, yeah, okay, who's going to win first? Right? Or is it always possible for both parties to win at the same time? So that's a different subject, but for me, I take that and apply it to me being authentic. If I want other people to be authentic with me, who should be authentic first? So I will take that on myself to be authentic first. Authenticity is one of my strengths, so it's not difficult for me. And I do understand that it is difficult for a number of people that I know, that I love. It's just not easy if they don't have it as a strength. Then for me, I believe, if I'm authentic first, I will attract other people who can be authentic with me also. And that's how I build trust and healthy relationships. Now, in the workplace, we need to have wisdom. When to be very authentic or when to be less authentic. Doesn't mean you have to be fake, but I believe everybody will have more peace of mind and live in with better mental health if they can be authentic. Because living lies, telling lies, being not yourself, not expressing your feelings is just a very tough way for people to live, I think. So in that sense, again, back to Johan's point, is the workplace even safe for you to be authentic?
Psychological safety, right?
So then I go back to, please up your level of wisdom.
Yeah.
I think if I might add to that, authentic is a big word, and like you said, it's like can be confusing, and it's like a buzzword around, but nobody knows what actually it is. What I get from people I talk to is that as long as you have a boss that you feel really cares about you, is kind, and the person may be tough on you, but also cares when it's required, and I think people will go the extra mile for that kind of boss, because they know that down at the bottom of their heart, they are doing a business, but at the same time they do care for the welfare of their employees. How do you then expand that corporate-wide? Let's say you have an organization of 1,000 people. If it's 12 people, 20 people, maybe it's easier. You get to meet the boss every day and you can feel their authenticity or how much they care. But then the question is, how does it happen when you have 1,000 people and they may not be in the same place? They may be in 20 different locations throughout the whole of Malaysia. So then it has to be a process where the organization shows they care.
Correct. So how do you scale the care?
Correct.
Right?
Correct. And how do you scale the authenticity?
How do you scale the authenticity? So there needs to be a process for this.
Correct.
Somebody, if you have something to say, comment, please tell us. Okay, put it down in the comment. We want to know ourselves. We need answers for this too.
Baby steps. Take baby steps.
Yes, baby steps.
Some companies do it through the mission. We hear that they want to make the world a better place, etc. So then they have behaviors in the organization that they reward that actually works towards that. But it has to be again an HR policy issue where those actions are rewarded as well. If it is done, is identified, is rewarded. So how do you do that in the organizations? Possible, yes.
Good thing for us to think also about how scaling the care.
Scaling, yes.
Because it's true, when the organization is small, then it's easier for the leader. When it's huge, then how? But at the same time, you cannot just forgo people's mental well-being just because you have a large company. Right? The larger you are, the more important it is.
Check in every morning.
When
you come to work, when you log on, where you're at. You may just want to take a note for yourself where you're at. It's just that, alright, I'm at a 4, or great, I'm at an 8. Then that just, even for yourself, you know how to function the rest of the day, whether you're in need of asking support or not.
Yes, true.
Let's ask Silma a question. She's been asking us a lot of questions, right? You're a confidence coach, Silma, and so definitely you deal with being a confidence coach. The assumption here is people that come to you says, please help me increase my confidence. right? And confidence is a key strength, and also something about mental health as well.
Yes.
If you're not confident in your competency, the things that you can do, you might not feel so balanced in your
Yes.
emotions, right?
Yes.
What's one thing that you feel has worked for you to help your clients achieve confidence?
I normally will ask them what makes them happy, because happiness and confidence links very tightly together. When you are happy, your confidence level will also go up. When you're not feeling happy, you're down, your confidence level definitely will be down. So I always ask them, what makes you happy?
Oh.
And you'll be surprised. Very simple question, cannot answer.
Mm.
Yeah, because people are not aware. They always are on a robot mode, right?
Oh.
Every day, autopilot mode, right? They are not aware or mindful enough to take note of what makes them happy. So that will be the first step. Work on happiness first.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yes. Once you can are able to nail that down, what makes you happy, only then we can work on the steps of tips of being confident, how to carry yourself, and all of that. Because otherwise, if you don't know the main point of that, your happiness, where it starts, we cannot move forward.
And that one is challenging for most people.
Challenging. It can be a whole session, the entire 1 hour, 30 minutes can be about that only. Find out what makes them happy.
So, very good thing for our listeners to ask themselves, right? What makes me happy? If you know that, that's already half the battle won for your confidence, right?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And also for your mental well-being, because whatever you're doing that makes you happy, mental well-being also, mental health also is
Yeah.
okay.
So do more.
Yes, do more of it. So, as promised in the beginning, we will talk about well-being, your mental health, and also your performance, both in your job, and also personal, right? But I want to ask the coaches, about mental well-being, mental health, right? Do you have any myths that you want to debunk when it comes to mental health?
Myth, okay. Some that we hear is that, okay, people that, let's say just now we use the example, I go
Right.
into my office, I put, today I'm a 4. And one of the myths is that this person is attention seeking, and basically you can switch how you feel. You know, it's all in your mind. This
Yeah.
kind of
Sometimes I hear also, all you have to do is just uproot yourself, take
Yes.
yourself up, and then go somewhere, do something physical, and you're okay.
Correct. So, like Hanaa shared just now, if they themselves knew where the switch was, you think they don't want to,
Exactly.
right? Nobody wants to go to work and feel down and like I can't do my work, no confidence, etc. You probably don't even want to leave home, and I don't think anybody would choose to want to feel that way. So one of the myths is that people going through mental challenges is actually just a matter of they themselves finding the button and switching it. It's not that. Sometimes it's a multi-factor issues that cause them to feel that way. It could be over a long term as well that made them feel that way. So sometimes it's not an easy button to switch off. So one of the myths is that it's simply a button like, oh, today you can feel this way, tomorrow you can feel better. That's not so. They really need support and need help, and that is a myth that we need to get rid of, where people that really say that I'm down, I'm a 3 or 4, help them, support them, and ask them, what can I do for you, or I got you, I'll take this off your hand, or I'll do this task for you, so that they can find another space for themselves to recover.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest myth I would share.
Yeah. That they are attention seekers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can
Also-
switch it, and they can switch. It's just all in their mind.
Yes.
Yeah, also not to immediately jump to the judgment of, no, you're okay, everything in your life is so good. What do you have to be depressed about?
Yeah.
So
just be grateful.
yeah, so those are the things not to say
Yes.
to a person who is going through a tough time.
Not so much a myth, but not very helpful things to say.
Correct,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do it because they're trying to switch them to think that, hey, tomorrow is a better day, but it just doesn't help them. what we found through research is that telling people that tomorrow will be better, your life is actually better, is actually negating the way they're feeling. So it's better to just talk to them about how they're feeling actually, accept what they're going through, and then from there working on it. But a lot of times by negating, it means that other people are disregarding the pain that they're going through.
I do acknowledge Johan's experience in Befrienders, and that's where I learned about our tendency when we're facing with somebody who's sharing something about their mental health or they're feeling depressed, and then I've done it myself, and I now recognize it when I hear it in conversations, that then the listener who is supposed to probably, it would be more helpful if the listener actually listened and acknowledged, right? Instead goes into, you broke one leg, last year I broke both my legs.
Yeah,
so you'll be okay.
So
yeah,
you're
you'll be
actually okay.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you call that? The Me Too.
Yeah, Me Tooism, or
So I think that is so common, and now that I've learned that that's something also not to do when trying to be sympathetic, or have higher empathy for somebody going through a tough time. Let's just listen.
But our topic of our podcast, what is it?
Help.
We're trying here. Actually, it's very helpful because imagine this one, right? I need help. Full stop. I'm trying here.
Yeah.
Right? But please help me still.
Yes.
Yeah. Just because I'm trying doesn't mean that I don't need support. I don't need help. I don't need a listening ear as well. I'm trying my best to get out of this. So yeah, in a way, help I'm trying here is actually a good topic for this one.
Definitely. To our listeners, whether you're listening to us in Spotify or you're watching our video in YouTube or even snippets of it in Instagram or YouTube, on Facebook, please leave us a comment. Tell us what are your thoughts so far, and does it make sense to you? Our conversation, our discussion so far, how is it for you? Yeah, leave a comment so that we know what you're thinking.
Because we're trying here as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're also trying here. Right. So before we end, any final advice or even sharing? Let's start with Coach Hanaa for our listeners out there.
October being Mental Health Month globally shines a light on this topic, and there's more conversations that need to be had on this topic. So be open, listen more to the people around you, pay attention to when you yourself are not at a good level on a scale of 1 to 10. Being self-aware is good, and what is also good is then taking that awareness and applying it to the people around you who needs your support. So then I think if we can be in that kind of position, being self-aware and also aware of other people's emotions and where they're at in their mental health, will help all of us make the world a better place.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Coach Johan?
I think Coach Hanaa has covered it. I mean, self-aware, being self-aware of where you're at.
Yes.
Talk to others as well. And also in this month, if you are even at the 7 and 8, congratulations. But also be aware of people around you that may need your help.
Yes.
Just listen to them over a cup of coffee. Doesn't need to take that much time. For me, like in organization, if you have the opportunity as well, just take a look at where your organization is at. Do you feel comfortable, safe there? And if not, what can happen, what can change? Talk to HR maybe, talk to your bosses if you're that close, to see how improving your well-being or your office environment can help your organization be even more successful. That could be a nice conversation to be had, because that's also under mental health. Okay, why do we need to focus on the mental illness part of October? It's also about making a better world, like Hanaa said, right? So just be a bit more aware, and also not only yourself but people around you. That would be what I say for this. Yeah.
And since it's a mental health month as well, would you like to talk a bit about befrienders?
Yes, thank you very much. Although that's not what we're here for, but
Yes.
since I volunteer with Befrienders also, if you need to talk to somebody, just reach out to Befrienders. Befrienders, you can just Google us for the numbers. We have centers throughout the whole of Malaysia, different service hours, but there's always somebody to talk to. No matter what you're going through, whatever you share is confidential on the Befrienders.
Yeah.
Besides that, there are also other helplines. Just go and search online for these helplines that are there to be ready to listen.
Yeah. No charge.
Yeah, no charge.
Yes, no charge. Yep. So that is the end of our session today. To our listeners out there, thank you so much.
Thank you very much
You
for
have
listening.
reached until the end here. Congratulations. Good job to you. Good job to you. Today's episode is about mental health matters. And this is River City G. What is it again?
Help, we're trying here.
So thank you once again to Coach Hanaa and also to Coach Johan
Thank you so
and
much
to our
for
listeners
hosting.
out there. I
Thank
hope you
you.
have gained a valuable insight into how important it is to have a balance between your well-being, your mental health, knowing your strengths, and to have a fulfilling life, whether be it in your work or also in your personal life. Yeah. So until the next episode, this is River City G. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.